latest new arrival to the CM plugins family is in-ear Display's Eurydice CM. It's a semi-modular quad effect mangler that lets you stutter, bit crush, filter and delay your audio beyond all recognition. Once the plugin is installed, open up a blank project at a tempo of 165 BPM in your preferred host software. Any DAW will do the job. Eurydice CM is a versatile sound mangler that lets you process your sounds using 4 different effects. So we're going to start by processing some separate parts of a jungle track to explore these effects in turn. Load the WAVs found in the tutorial files folder onto separate tracks in your DAW. Then drop a new instance of Eurydice CM over beatedit.wavs track. This stem is just a duplicate of our main beat, chopped out so we can make some crazy fills. Now we can already hear the plugin's default patch, giving us some creative variation to our drum track. So let's solo our drum edit channel so we can focus upon it in isolation. The presets menu is found at the bottom left of the plugin. Click in the panel to open the drop-down menu, then scroll to the bottom of the preset list and select Init All to reset all parameters so we can program Eurydice CM from a blank patch. The plugin consists of 2 main views, our main controls panel and a second modulation matrix style patch panel. So click on the controls or patch button in the top left to toggle between these 2 views. Eurydice CM's flexible modular style routing options allow us to route our incoming audio signal using an intuitive drag and drop patching system. We can see our sources in the left column, our input slots, all currently labelled none, and our destination. The modulation depth amount can be applied as a percentage between 0 and 100. Let's route our input signal into the buffer effect. Click and drag the input box from the source column over on the left, over to the empty input slot alongside the buffer audio in destination. The depth is already set to 100%, but we can't yet hear our effect as it's not routed to the output. So drag the buffer source over to the dry wet audio in's input slot. And we can now hear the buffer's effect over our input signal. Eurydice CM's buffer will repeat small sections of the input signal, and the length of the repeats is controlled by the size parameter. Slowly move between 1 millisecond and around 550 milliseconds to hear the increase or decrease in the repeat's length. The repeat style sets the amount of times the plugin will replay a portion of audio before then sampling a new section. So drag this up to a maximum 128 when a portion of audio plays to catch a section of audio and repeat it 128 times. The ratio knob controls the playback speed and pitch of the buffer's looped signal for some turntable style effects. The default value of 1 plays back the looped audio at its original speed, and reducing this will slow down the loop until hitting 0, whereby it will stop. Values above 1 will increase the loop speed until it plays back at double its speed at 2. Negative values below 0 will keep the same pitch and time relationship as their positive equivalents, but will play back the repeats in reverse. Now, as the buffer can be hard to tame, we'll record some crazy stutters in as audio to a new track for more precise placement and editing. Assign the repeating beats output to a new audio track. Hit record on that new track, and then tweak the buffer's parameters in live. With a size setting of about 80 milliseconds and repeats set at about 15, some live sweeping of the ratio knob can create some really buzzy, jungle style stutters and rolls. So here we'll just play about and experiment and record some stutters in. And then we can chop up the resulting audio and place our favourite fills where we like. The crusher effect allows you to reduce the bit depth and sample rate of your signal using the respective bits and rate parameters. Drop a new instance of Eurydice CM over base.wav's channel and load up the CM crush only preset. Or alternatively, you can set up the routing as we did before with the buffer. Now, pull the bits down to 2 and set the rate to 12 for a buzzy fuzz effect. Turn the output section's dry wet down to around 30%, so we only mix in a small amount of our crunch. The delay effect is a repitching tape delay. Drop a fresh Eurydice CM over vocal.wav's track and then select the CM delay only preset. As its delay sync is off, i.e. set to free, we can alter our delay time in milliseconds with the time parameter. Increase and decrease this whilst the vocal is playing, to hear the repeats pitch up or down before settling at a new value. The delay's feedback controls the amount of the delayed signal that's fed back into the delay's input, so we'll set it to a maximum 100%. Sync mode will synchronize our delay time to our host tempo by bar divisions of between 1 and 128. We'll use a value of 45 divisions, and then we'll turn up the mix parameter to 100% to fully isolate our delayed signal. Now let's use one of Eurydice CM's LFOs to modulate our delay time automatically. Instead of switching over to the patch panel, we can just drag and drop our routing on the main controls panel. Click and drag LFO1's header bar over to our delay times input slot. You'll see it change from none to LFO1. Then apply a depth of roughly 44% in the box below. We'll change LFO1's left dial to try to alter its wave shape to a triangle. By default, the LFO's rate ranges from 0 Hz to 40 Hz. Activating the sync button will change the LFO's rate to beat divisions in relation to our host BPM. So turn LFO1's sync to on and set the rate to 16th dotted for a more rhythmic pattern to the delay's repitching. Now let's process our creepy pad using Eurydice CM's filter. Drop a new instance over it and select the CM filter only patch from the presets menu. We can mix between 4 filter types using the morph parameter. We want a low pass, so keep this knob where it is. We bring the cutoff down to around 760 Hz. And then crank the resonance up to maximum to dampen our pad's higher frequencies. The LFO rate multiply button will multiply an LFO's rate by 100, pushing the LFO's frequency into the audible range and turning it into its own oscillator of sorts. Let's use that to mix in some dirty movement over our pad's filter frequency. Change LFO1's shape to try for a triangle. Set its rate to around 5.6 Hz and toggle the times 100 button. Now drag the LFO1 header to the cutoff's input slot and apply an approximate 45% modulation amount. Eurydice CM's mixer sections allow us to combine 2 of the plugin's signals together. In the patch panel, we'll set up mixer 1 as the source, alongside the destination of dry-wet audio in. Back in the controls window, we change mixer 1's upper menu to filter and the lower menu to LFO2. The mix knob balances between the 2 signals, so set it to around 4% for only a small amount of our second signal. Now let's set up LFO2 as a dirty oscillator. We'll set its wave type to saw D, which is a downward saw. We'll set its rate to around 10.5 Hz, and then we'll engage the times 100 button. We have a boring saw tone, so we'll use LFO3 to modulate it. Drag LFO3's header bar over into LFO2's rate input box, and apply roughly 75% mod depth. Set LFO3's wave type to S&H, which is sample and hold, and then set its rate to a maximum 40 Hz. And now we have a random glitchy tone mixed in with our original pad. Finally, let's take a look at Eurydice CM's multiplier section. It combines two output signal values and multiplies them together for ring modulation style effects. In the multiplier section's upper menu, choose Mixer 1, and in the lower menu select LFO 1. We won't hear the effect until we assign the multiplier source to the dry-wet audio in destination. Now simply move or automate LFO1's rate for a dirty ring mod rise effect. So that's how you use Eurydice CM by in-ear display, and you can hear more audio examples in this month's tutorial files folder.